So we want to thank you for joining us today. My name is Jesse Almodovar. I'll be cutting Danny as our model today. We'll be doing a variation of a traditional men's haircut, short on the side, a little longer on top, which will be able to be comb over with a taper on the sides and the bottom. For today's haircut, we'll be using Andy's clippers. For most of the haircut, we'll be using the Super 120 Ion, which is a very good clipper. I've really come to appreciate, one, that it's cordless, and the power and the battery life that it has. The other one that I will be using is the Andy Slimline Pro. Again, cordless for the mobility and very powerfully sharp lines without me having to do a lot of extra adjustments to it. So both great products. I'll be using both of those on this haircut as well. So I'm just going to take your glasses from you, Danny. So as you're greeting a customer, as you're beginning a haircut, one of the basic things that we need to do and remember is a consultation. A consultation is a lot. It tells you about what you're going to do. Even though I particularly know what I'm going to do with this client, if you've never had a client in their chair before, you have to go through that. Questions, questions, questions. It helps you to get a basis for what they like and for what you're going to do on them, and so that there's no miscommunication and you don't turn them around or you cut their hair and all of a sudden it's not the haircut that they wanted. So, hi, my name is Jesse. You are?
Danny.
Danny, very nice to meet you. What kind of haircut would you like today?
I'd like it shorter on the sides, a little longer on the top, kind of put to the side.
Okay, sounds good. Danny, have you ever been to a barbershop, or do you normally go to a salon?
Usually it's a barbershop.
Usually it's a barbershop. Okay. Do you about know what number you do on the side?
I'm not sure, to be honest.
Not sure. Okay. On top, do they use scissors or clippers?
It's usually a combination of both. Like to finish the edging on top, they'll use the scissors and
okay.
such.
Nice. Very nice. So, Danny, I'm going to go ahead and try to use a number 2 guard on the side,
okay.
Which will give you about a medium cut. And then I'm going to go ahead and use, actually, we normally could use shears, but I'm actually going to use trimmers on top,
okay.
or clippers on top to go ahead and cut the top hair. But we'll leave you with that extra length so you can push it off to the side. Is that okay?
Right, sounds good.
All right, sounds good. Let's do that. So after your consultations, you can go ahead and get started and perform your haircut. And that's what we're going to do today. So for my haircuts, I like to start on top. The reason why I like to start on top versus the sides is because it gives me an avenue of where I'm going to blend to. So if I start on the bottom going to the top, unless I'm seasoned and I know where I'm going, which I do a lot, I actually do start on the bottom. But for those that might be just starting, I do suggest taking down a lot of the bulk off the top, getting this top length to the desired area or length, and then we'll be able to fade from the top up. And then this way in the middle you can meet and not feel like it's going to be too high or too little and have to go rework it again. So less steps in the future, and be able to work the hair properly. Danny's hair was already washed, so I was able to take the products out of it, which is very important. Can slow down your clippers, could eventually wear them out a little bit faster. So make sure that you wash the client's hair before they come in. A lot of times they're coming off the streets, they're coming from work, they're coming from business, so they have gel products in their hair. So if you're not offering that, that is another avenue of making money at your location, whether it be a salon or a barbershop, that you are missing out on. So again, we're going to be using the Andy's Supra 120 Ions. And today we'll be doing a clipper over hand technique. So I'll take my ions, they're on right now, and they're talking to me. You'll notice that with a lot of the Andy's products, especially with the ions, you can kind of tell when they need to be taken care of or lubricated. I do use the Andy's Cool Care. Just a nice little shot will change the sound, and you know that they're ready to go. Also, for disinfecting purposes, I would definitely use the Andy's Cool Care within 10 minutes before you use the actual clipper. And that's the actual amount of time that you need for it to be properly disinfected. And that was already done before the haircut started. So take the ion. I'm going to place it upside down in my hand, or palm it. You want the clipper actually facing you. The comb will be in your other hand. And we're going to comb everything forward. And I'm going to start to work my way back from my guideline. Now, since I know that for his hair, I'm going to leave it a little longer. It needs to be longer in the front so he can have the style that he's looking for to direct it over this way, I needed to over direct the hair. Danny's hair actually comes, and you can probably see, I'll turn it this way. There's hairline in front here. This part of the hair is sticking out straight. So if I stuck the hair out straight this way, this direction, it would cut short. And then as I go back, it would be extremely short. So it might look proper. The length would all be even as I come backwards. But when I over direct the hair back this way, it'll leave it longer for his desired look. And that's why it's called over directing the hair. You want to bring it past the point of where it naturally lays for the haircut. So when I do my haircuts, I usually do stand in front of the mirror. I have my clipper attachments, my clippers here. And so it makes an easy transition as you're working throughout the day, and that makes you a little bit more comfortable and ergonomic for you, so you're not doing too much. Instead of me being on the other side way over here and then running back and forth, it's also a time saver. So again, we're going to comb his hair forward. We'll make sure his hair is nice and wet. Making sure your hair is completely wet also. Make sure the hair is even. You don't want some hair more elastic than others once you add the water to it. So again, to the side so you can see what I'm doing. Turn my clippers back on. Then again, pushing the hair back. I'm going to grab it like I would, and I'm going to slide it over. Do a nice even cut. Just work my way all the way back. Another aspect of barbering that sometimes is left out is that we can get a little nervous, especially if you don't know the client. Maybe you don't know, you're a little bit nervous about your skills. You're just learning, which is understandable. So we get a little in the zone. And when you get in the zone, you can kind of lose that client-barber kind of talk with each other. And you want to build a rapport with the client. So as you're talking, or as you're cutting the hair, you want to be able to talk a little bit with your client to make them feel a little bit more comfortable too. Since Danny, this is your first time here, are you in the area? Do you live in the area?
I live not too far away. I live in Walkill, about 10 minutes away.
Okay, nice. Danny, how long have you lived in the area?
I have lived in the area. I lived between Walden and Walkill for about 8 years now.
Oh, okay, very good. I'm taking it you went to school as a local school, Valley Central?
Yes.
Okay, very nice. Very nice. So what brings you to our shop today? How did you hear about us?
Through a friend.
Through a friend, okay. Nice, who's your friend?
My friend would be my brother-in-law also.
Okay, nice, nice. We appreciate that. So one of the things that you also want to, when you're doing this technique, as you're learning and you're becoming more comfortable with it, you want to be able to keep your clippers as close to it as possible. If you hold it, now you can hold it here. This particular, the ions are very lightweight, so you don't have to worry about too much of the wrist motion and wearing down from the heaviness. And this is why you can do this particular style of haircutting with this product, because it is lightweight, but yet still has the power to cut through the wet hair and not be stuck. So you can hear it getting a little louder. Now I already did the middle. I went all the way back. Now I'm working on the sides. Angling just a little bit on the sides. It's keeping proportion with his head. So obviously the head is sloped. So this side I'm going to go straight back in the middle. And as I work my way to the sides, I'm slightly going to go just angle just a little bit more. So straight here, a little bit of angle, a little bit of angle. Now for this particular haircut, he doesn't want a hard defined part, but he will be combing to the side. So again, just the same as I went in the front and over directed it back so we can have length to push it to the side, we're going to do the same thing when we get to the left side of his head with his hair. We'll over direct it just slightly so it has a little bit more just to lay over to the side and keep the style that he's desiring. Danny, do you have any brothers or sisters?
I do. I have one sister and 3 brothers.
So as I'm doing this, you're always coming back. You follow the guidelines that you've been placing in the hair already, just as if you were doing it with your shears. You follow that guideline back. You can see where it's shorter and where it needs to be cut. Okay. So on many of your clients, you're going to notice that they all most do have some sort of cowlick. For Danny, we do cut it a little bit shorter here so that it will not show as much after the haircut. You can either go that way, or a lot of clients like to leave it a little bit longer so that eventually they won't see that. Since Danny is a regular here, we know that he's going to be coming back every 2 weeks, so we take it a little bit shorter, and we know that it's not going to have an outrageous look when he does his hair. And especially a lot of the times, since he has his hair a little bit messier of a look, it's not always the combed down, nice, neat side to the side part, which is kind of more in style for your everyday use. Hair is getting a little dry, so again, we're going to go back and we're going to wet the hair, make sure it's all wet. Again, palm the clippers with the clippers facing forward. Brush it forward. Now, this is the side of the hair that I want to over direct this way. So instead of taking my fingers and making that particular angle just like this to the side with the scalp, we're going to keep it just a little straighter. This will give me a more length in this section to be able to comb over to the side and give him the desired look. Again, that front part we're over directing back a little bit, not taking as much off as the back. And the hair will naturally slope that way as you go to the side. So when you cross check, everything should be a little longer in the front and should be tapered off towards the back. When I do this maneuver, you can see me combing forward and combing back. Because of the fact that I know where my clippers are and it's not swinging around, leaves me a little bit more comfortable to be able to do this kind of movement. And this particular movement does take a little bit of time to get if you haven't done it before. You're moving it, you're palming it, you're having it in a different hand. If you're doing with scissors, you're kind of palming your shears, you're going back and you're doing that. So just the same that it took you a little bit to get used to palming your shears and the motion of going back and forth with your comb is the same little bit of time that it'll take just to use this particular maneuver. But once you get it, I'm sure you're going to love it because it's quick. You don't have to worry about going back and forth. You're actually cutting out a process by just going back and making one movement with your hand instead of back and forth with the comb. So this is about where we're going to leave Danny's hair on top. And any adjustments will come back a little bit later. We're actually going to work on the side and we're going to work from the bottom up. As we told Danny earlier, we're actually going to do a number 2 on the side, but I am going to suggest to Danny that we do a taper. So a small taper on the side and on the back. The taper will bring it nice and low. We'll give it a nice accent to the haircut, leaving it dark. We know that Danny doesn't want it too short afterwards. But to give that nice definition, give it that young flair, we will do a nice taper on the sideburns and on the back. So that's what we'll do. But we're going to do a number 2 first. Some people would start out with the taper first, and that's okay. You can do that. For today, I'm going to be using the Andes magnetic guards. I have modified them just slightly to fit on my Supras. So I don't know if that's sacrilegious to Andes, but they do come with 4 plastic guards that come with the Supras. Those are just as good. I've come accustomed to using the purple magnetic guards that Andes does make, and I do like them a lot, so I just did a slight tweak, and we're going to go ahead and use those today. So on the side, what we're going to do is we're going to work from the bottom and we're going to work up. So with any strokes that we're going to do, after we make the initial line, we're going to level up, and then we're going to do a blend. That's the type of haircuts that I like to do. Also, when you're moving about, instead of doing a lot of back and forth, because you got to do every side, I like to keep everything even. Revolution cutting, which is just work from one side, work that particular size all the way around, make sure everything's nice and even, and then you'll work your way back. So you'll be working back and forth. But to move on, to get that done, instead of me walking back and forth around the chair, which takes a lot of effort and takes a lot of time, we're actually going to be moving Danny. But because I don't want to do a lot of extra, I can literally just move him with my legs, just like that. And so I can stay steady and move. My comb attachments are very close. Danny's still here, and I don't have a lot of back and forth to do. My body's not doing a lot of the extra rigorous stuff that would be if I was moving around, which I still have to catch myself from doing every once in a while because I do like to move. I am a mover. So we're going to be using our number 2 comb attachment from the purple magnetic set. Oh, should probably turn you this way so everybody can see. So this particular level, we started here in the front. We're not going to go particularly straight back in a line that would end in his parietal ridge in the back. We're actually going to drop it below the parietal ridge, come over his ear, you can hear the super getting a little loud, and that just means they need a little bit more lubrication. There you go, nice. Have that nice little hum, you know it's ready to go. So again, we're just going to come right below the parietal ridge for this particular cut instead of going straight. So it does have just a slight angle. This area here below the parietal ridge and the nape section will be able to taper out a little bit later. So that's why I'm coming right above that, but yet still below his below that area there. The reason why I chose to use the Supras today was because I know that a lot of barbers and a lot of the cosmetologists still use some sort of adjustable clippers. And they can use the detachable ones. This is very well done with the detachable ones. On my stations, I do use the BGRs, the BGR Pluses, which is another cordless clipper, detachable clipper from Indies. Very well made, very nice and heavy duty, but yet they feel light enough to hold in your hand to do all the techniques that we're doing today. Obviously, it's a detachable clipper, so you won't get the adjustments from going from, which the Supras do. They go from a 4-0 to a 1. So, like I said, I decided to use the Supras because I know a lot of people still use either, for most shops that I go to, they use the Andes. Or one of our competitors that have an adjustable swing arm that will increase the level from usually a double or 000 to a 1. Alright. So again, you can see here the slight angle that we're taking. We go all the way around. Okay. Now that Danny's there, you don't have to turn him around, although you can do this on one side. Since he's on that side, we're going to go ahead and attach our 3. And we're going to go ahead and put it in the next level. And we're again going to go up about 1/4 inch. And we're going to work the same way. Now, as I work backwards towards the other direction, you'll notice that as I do the cut in, that I'm doing a slight C motion right at the end. It will actually cut down your time from taking one level to the next. It's almost blended just enough. As you go along and you learn a little bit more and you're comfortable with your fading, you can actually do a complete C motion out and do your adjustments right afterwards and almost take out that line completely, and you won't have any lines as you take the gradation from the bottom up. But for the purpose of keeping the fade even throughout, make it from one side to the next so that everything's on one even plane, I do like to start people that are just a little bit newer in haircutting, is to keep everything, you can still see the line, and this way you can come back down, work your way back down and take everything out, and you know exactly where that fade is instead of having the fade be lower on one side and higher on the other. It does help a little bit with that. Let's spray these down just a little bit more. You can actually see with the modifications to the purple magnetic guards that it is still a very tight fit. I can hold it from the guard itself and it's not going to fall off. So again, very good idea. If that ever happens, that'd be fantastic. One of the things that I do want to point out as I do go around, as you can see in this particular side, this first line here kind of does drop just a little bit, so it's angled. As I put in my levels, you can see that this back side is a little bit higher or more than the side that I started with. You only have a little bit to work here with as you're doing the fade. In the back, you want this to come up. So this particular section, faded section, which is the number 3 guard, will be a little bit bigger here in the back than it is on the side. So it starts to straighten out that fade process. Another thing to keep in mind is as you're going along your day, always make sure that you're keeping it lubricated. We've already went over the Andes Cool Care, but remember to put some drops of your Andes clipper oil throughout the day. The oil will definitely not only keep it lubricated, but keep it cooler, the metal as it goes back and forth. How you doing, Danny?
Pretty good.
Doing all right?
Yep.
Does this feel weird being in front of a bunch of cameras?
It's alright.
Yeah, you like it.
Just a little bit. It's not too bad.
Danny has been coming to our shop now for, what do you think, Danny? 6 years? 5 years?
At least.
So he's one of our regulars, and we appreciate his business to our lovely establishment.
Glad to come. Glad to do a good job. It's probably been about 6 to 7 years.
So we're going to keep working up. Now, as I get past the level 3, for a lot of my haircuts, as I do the fade, I won't be making such a hard line anymore. A lot of my motions will be definitely much more of a C motion to rock out and fade the top parts a little bit more. And because I don't want to comb up too much. Now, in this hair here, we know we're going to leave it a little bit longer, so I do, although he does not do a hard part, I want to see where that longer section of hair is, comb it to the side a little bit, so I know that I don't want to comb this down and start cutting all that off. So again, I'm just going to wet the top just a little bit so I can see that separation. You see as I come up, I'm doing a lot of the C motion. So we're now making a distinct hard line in this next section. One of the things that you should know about our Andes, the Supras that are out, the Supras 120s, it's a rotary motor. This is what cuts down on the weight. The battery is extremely good. It's a lithium-ion battery, so the battery life is long. 2 hours of charge time and only an hour to charge back up. It comes with the battery that pops out, so you can put that on the station. So as you're going along your day, one of the things I actually only cut with the Supras, the BGRs, and the Slimline Pros, all cordless clippers. And I've come to love them. It took me a little bit of time to understand what the difference was between the magnetic clippers and the rotary clippers with my Andes Masters, which I still do love and cherish. But I've gotten so used to being unrestricted by a cord, being able to go wherever I want in a haircut and not have to worry about it hitting the client or getting stuck. You know, my chair has some hooks, so it gets stuck or tangled up. The tangling was a mess. So again, our products are good. One of the other ones that are very nice that more recent is our Andy's Envy. Same rotary motor, which keeps it nice and light. And you can still do this technique of clipper over your fingers because it's such a light clipper. Instead of having the Andy's Masters in your hand, which is heavier, it's a little bit more ergonomic with the Envy and also with the Supras. So again, with your C motion, I'm doing it relatively quick, but in aspect, this is what the motion would look like. Again, you have your comb in one hand, you're constantly combing the hair in the direction that it lives. When I talk about the direction that the hair lives, as you go out and you're learning each of your clients' hair, you'll notice that the hair pattern does change. So that's what I talk about when I say that the hair is living in a certain direction. Danny's hair in the back here lives here, but it directs in a certain direction. So if I was to comb it down the other way, I'm not combing it where it lives. It lives going one direction. All right, so we're pretty much done with the top blend in that section there. On the side that Danny will be combing his hair to, as you can see, there's a little back puff that we're going to take care of. And for that, we're actually going to do a clipper over comb technique. And this is where I would usually use a white comb. Danny has darker hair, so to make it easier as I'm doing a clipper over comb technique, a white comb would definitely show through where I need to take off a little bit more of the hair. The contrast makes it a little bit easier to see. Unfortunately, my white comb was kidnapped this evening by a colleague, and I did not realize that he did that until recently. So, but Andy does make a nice white comb to use just for this particular purpose. So with the revolutionary cutting, as you see, I've been going back and forth, up, back and forth. So again, with the back and forth motion, again, I'm going to start here. I'm combing his hair the direction that he is eventually going to be laying it, which is to the side. I'm going to wet his hair just a little bit. Now this front section here, you do want to watch out. It is longer at the moment, but again, we're going to be directing his hair up. So to make the style look proficient, we're not going to go ahead and cut this all to the side. We're going to leave that hang, and I'm going to mess with that at the end. I'm very used to coming in this direction, so I want to spin him here to look at my mirror. One of the things that you get used to when you're barbering is your mirror is your friend. So when I'm fading, I'm used to standing on this side, which can sometimes be the contrast between going to a stylist, which I know that usually stands on this side, looks at the mirror as they cut their hair. Most barbers will stand on one side of the mirror with the fade hitting the mirror. Mirrors don't lie. Pictures don't lie also. So if you're ever getting ready for Instagram and you're already you all of a sudden see that line, that's kind of what your mirror does. That same thing. It doesn't lie to you. If you want to get that line out, you look in your mirror. So you can see where his hair is a little bit heavier in this particular section, and that's the line that I'm going to take out, doing a clipper over comb. We're also going to work on Danny's cowlick. Again, for Danny, we're going to take it down. This way he doesn't have to worry about it for a couple weeks, but by the time he does have to worry about it, he does come back to the shop and get his haircut anyway. Some people won't like that. Some people will like to leave it longer, and that's one of those things that you'll have to do during your consultation. You have to know exactly what your client likes. Sometimes they don't like that, or make the suggestion to leave it longer or take it down. That pretty much takes care of that. There's a little bit here I'm going to take care of as well. Okay. So now, for me, we've done the top. We've taken down where we want the length on top. We've worked the sides in. We've blended the sides. So now I'm going to actually work my way back down and take out some of these weight lines that I left in for the fade. And then at last we'll work on the taper. Okay. As I said earlier, the Andy Supras, they are adjustable. When I was first doing the fade up and attaching my comb guards to the Supras, I was putting them on, but on the 4-0 attachment. I'm used to saying 3-0. It says 4-0. So from 4-0 to 1. So I'm actually going to open it up to the 1 setting, attach my clipper comb, and we'll be able to take some of the other weight lines. And this is where this sets the Supra apart. Unlike our regular masters, we're used to doing this, up and down, up and down. We're already here. So I'm already holding it here. So instead of taking my hand and moving it, keep going back and forth, up and down, up and down, up and down. My fingers are already here. So I'm doing this a little bit, moving it back and forth. Nice ergonomic design. All those little things sound super small, and you're like, well, what does that matter? But throughout the day, you're doing this particular movement up and down, up and down, up and down. I know it's just a constant. As you're fading, that's just part of it. One level's a little bit too big, I need to go down. You know, a little bit too high, I need to go up. And for the fading aspect of taking these the lines out or the weight lines out, again, it's a very deep C motion. I don't want to take the fade up any higher. That one's there. So then now that we're back to this side, we're going to work back the other way. I'll attach my 3. And as you can see, we're pretty much done. The 3 into the 4 fades very nice. So as I went up, I said I had it on 4-0. Now it's on 1 with my attachment, and I'm rocking it out. I'm going to get this little bit of weight line off that's there. Again, always combing down. Danny's hair is thankfully straighter, so we don't have to worry about it curling up or moving into too many different directions. But it doesn't mean that I don't want to do that. This is actually just practice for my next haircut. So if I stop doing this motion, up, down, I might forget it on the next person that I do, and I don't want to do that. You get somebody with curly hair, his hair is definitely a little bit stiffer, a little bit more rigid, so it doesn't move around, but somebody with very fine hair can come in, and that hair is moving in different directions. So as you're moving up, the hair is going to go up or come to the side. So you won't catch all the hairs in every motion. So you need to constantly brush down. Gotta spray a little bit because it's a little loud. So inevitably, as you're cutting a new client, you're getting to know them, they're probably going to ask you, how long have you been cutting for? How long have you been doing this? Be proud of what you are. If you've just started, that's okay. Whether you've just started or you've been doing this for a while, you're always a student. You're always learning. One of the nice things about our profession is that it's a practice. It's the same thing as a lawyer or a doctor, right? They have their practices too. A doctor, you go in, you're sick, right? You want to get better. They don't know you. They're getting to know you. They might know a way to solve one of your problems, but they don't know you specifically. So because you're different than everybody else, they're practicing on you, whether they don't tell you that, but that's what you're doing. And it's the same thing with our clients. Every particular head, every different client comes in. Even if you've had the same client for a while, that particular head could change. The hair can change over time. You might have been cutting for that client for 6 or 7 years, and all of a sudden, the hair growth pattern changes. So it's a constant practice, which is a beautiful thing. You can be really good, and there are a lot of really, really good barbers. Some that I look up to. Amazing, amazing teachers, amazing educators, amazing platform artists. There's a lot to our profession and our careers that we can get into. But you should never stop learning. You stop learning, you get a little stagnant. You don't want to get stagnant, because then somebody else is going to be on top of you. One of the nice things about social media nowadays is the fact that we can see what we're all doing. You can see what somebody in the city is doing. You know, I'm in a little village outside of the city. So without social media, I might be the best barber in the town. And people might fill your head with that the whole time. So you could kind of maybe relax just a little bit on taking in class, your continuing education, on pushing yourself. But now, one of the nice things about the social media that we have is that you continue to see what else is out there, what's new, what's going on, you know, what's the new style, what's coming. I might see a style that's happening on the West Coast, and even I might see a style that's hot in the city. But, you know, it takes a little bit of time to come to me. But your mind can be already prepared for when that style comes. You've already taken that in. You've already taken the knowledge in to learn how to cut that hair. You know it's coming. So in your head, you say, okay, I can do that. How could I do that? You probably even talked one or two of your clients into doing that particular hairstyle, and everybody else in the barbershop's like, why did you do that? Who's doing that? Nobody's doing that right now. When you know better because you're on your social media game and you're working at perfecting your craft. Back to the haircut. Again, this is the last weight line I'm going to be taking out. I started with the 0 on the bottom. I'm just going to, again, just be rocking that out. Always start whatever number you're at the level that you're at. So I have my 2 attachment. I know a 2 was here, 2 000 or 40, excuse me, down on the bottom. So as it's open, I know it's not going to take anything off in this particular level. So I want to start at that level and then flick up. I can feel safe and confident that I'm not going to push up the weight line just a little bit. It's getting a little loud. It's just like your car. When your car talks to you, you got to take care of it. The nice thing about social media and the internet and everything that we have available to us as barbers is that we can learn about our product very, very quickly. You want to know more about the Andy Supras or the Andy Slimline Pros? Go to the website, check it out, see the reviews, talk to other fellow barbers, you know, on Facebook, on Instagram, whatever you're doing, get to know what's going on. In the industry now, it's nice to see a fellowship of sorts where you can kind of interact with other barbers and say, hey, does this work? Does this not work? How did you do that? So that's it's a good thing that we should catch on to. We want to take our craft from what was a basement in the kitchen, you know, cutthroat thing to, hey, you know what, we're a profession. You know, we're $1 million, billion-dollar industry in general, between everything, between the barbering, between the companies that make the products, the companies that do the educational work. And that's what we're moving, which is very good. We've been here, but we're moving in the right direction because so many barbers are now coming together, so many groups are now coming together to move our industry forward, and that's what we are trying to do too. What's nice about the weight line also, which is I just did actually, I had put my number 2 guard down, sprayed my clippers, and then came back. I actually grabbed, in my conversation, I did grab my number 3. But I noticed, since I knew where my weight line was and what number I was attacking there, as soon as I went over it with my Supras, I knew that wasn't the right one. I didn't hear anything coming off. So that's one of the nice things about having or knowing where your weight line is, until you can kind of get into the rhythm of, okay, this is where my fade is, this is where it's going. You kind of know that already, so then you can get past that and you can kind of gradually move up, move down. You don't have to do it this particular way. Everybody has a different way of doing it. This might not be your way. Many educators have their own YouTube channel, their own, Andy's has their own line of haircutting style and techniques. You can pick something up from one of the educators that you particularly love, or that you can add to your repertoire. You know, hair is not cut the same way. As long as everything comes out the same way, that's what you're really not. There are some guidelines that are going to be the same for pretty much everything, but your particular style of haircutting could be completely different to the person next to you. And that's okay. All right. So when Danny came in, Danny asked for the shorter on the sides, a little longer on the top so we can push it over. Now, I know Danny, so I know what I'm going to do on him. But you don't know Danny. But as you can see, the number 2 definitely left a lot of weight on the sideburns. And towards the back, even though it's a little bit nicer, what you'll notice is that here on the bottom, for a lot of your clients, the hair growth pattern is going to be much different. It's going to start to curl in very dramatically at times. So to take this down and this down for them is something that will add a little bit extra to their haircut, make it look a little bit more crisp. Normally, you might not have to take it down that much. This is a 2. You might just take it down, knock it down with a 1. Again, going in the direction of the hair growth to knock that down. But I'm actually going to do a skin taper and bring it all the way down and taper it up just a little bit. So, is that okay with you, Danny? Can we do that for you?
Yeah, sounds
all
good.
Right.
You have my permission.
Oh, thank you. So I'm going to start Danny's back here. I have been very impressed with the Super Ions. They are they've been running really good. I am happy with the battery life. I can pretty much get a whole day's worth of haircuts in on just one battery, which to me was amazing. I was very hesitant on going cordless, and a lot of people that I know are still a little hesitant on going cordless because of the battery life. How long does the battery last? Can I get through a whole day? You can. You can, and stay pretty busy. And it says 2 hours of runtime, and you might be like, oh, 2 hours, like what do you mean 2 hours? I'm not using these on the whole time. Even during this haircut, I've turned it on and off the whole time. So throughout the haircut, if you're doing a 20-30 minute haircut, you probably had these running for a total maximum of maybe 10 minutes. So 2 hours can be a lot of time for a barber or a cosmetologist, depending on who is picking up. And for both, for both the men and the women, being that it is so lightweight, it's going to preserve your wrist. You know, that carpal tunnel that is known for our motions. We're doing this C motion all the time, especially us barbers. You know, we're doing this constantly. So if you're like me, you love your masters. You're in love with your masters. You probably tuned in your masters so well, you know them. They're your babies. There's nothing wrong with using your masters. Use your masters. But if you can work in the Supras, or you can work in the Envies, which has the same blades, which can provide you with the same haircut, but also your longevity in your career. Yes, they look more manly, they're steel, but I'd rather be manly for a very long time than be manly for a very short amount of time. So if there are products out there that you can use that will help your longevity in barbering, then by all means, I suggest hopping on board. With any kind of taper, we're not going to be doing it very high. You have your nape area here, so we're keeping all that underneath. I've already kind of worked up as I've been talking. I kind of left out exactly what I was doing, but a lot of it is very much C motions. I'm not making guidelines. I'm going up. I'm kind of in my head making guidelines, but I'm fading them very, very quickly. It looks quick, but again, the same rock C motion that I took those weight lines out is the same motion that I'm doing here. Because this is a rotary motor, it's nice because had I even started this cut and I decided to do all the bulk that was on his hair originally with this clipper would go right through. It's powerful enough, lightweight yet powerful enough to go through that bulk very, very quickly. Another reason why I like using the Supra is because of the rotary motor that it has. A magnetic motor, you would have hit, we've all hit those stages. It's too much hair. It just can't do it. As much as you've adjusted them, as much as you've done stuff to make them work, and not saying that it won't work, but especially if your hair is wet, again, because you want to wash your client's hair beforehand, the rotary motor clippers will provide that extra bit of power. You have torque in both directions instead of torque just going one way and then it springing back the other way. So I did the back, work on the sides. So I'm not going to bald out his sideburns. I will leave him a little bit, but I will bring it all the way down. As you can see, as I'm doing this particular taper, I'm kind of bringing it at an angle from the front of his, to the end of his lobe. Front of his head, excuse me, to the end of his ear. A little loud. Attach this one is actually going to be my half guard after my open one. And with a lot of tapers, as you'll start to come and realize that particular motion, you're constantly doing your adjustments. So you're going from that 000 or 40 to the 1, back and forth, back and forth. And it's not always as a blunt cut. What I mean by blunt cut, well, making sure that motion is not just up and down, straight, psh, right? I'm actually going to be removing bulk by just doing a flick. Or a lot of times, for a lot of tapering motions, you'll actually be just using the side. So just using your edge and doing that. This will also prevent you from taking off large chunks by accident. A lot of times I'll like to put my finger here as I do that. This kind of stops me from leaning in too much. Just a tip that I've tried. It might work for you too. Great if it does. Now the black plastic guards that the Supras do come with starts from a 1 and goes up to a 4. Really anything above that, you should probably be doing clipper over comb, scissor or blending, would that matter? Again, even though I am not doing a particular line that's going all the way around, I do like to do both sides with each number. So if I'm doing a number 1, I'm doing a number 1 on both sides. If I'm doing a 0, I'm doing a 0 on both sides. Kind of helps me to stay even instead of evening out one side and then evening out the other one. See a little weight line here. I'm going to try to take that out. Oh, is that okay with you?
Yep.
Oh, thanks. Danny, you like football?
I do.
Who's going to the Super Bowl?
Who's going to the Super Bowl?
Yep.
I want to see Seattle and Indianapolis because of my dislike for the Patriots.
Yeah.
So let's just hope the Patriots aren't there. That's basically all I hope for, as long as it's not them. I'm a Jet fan, if you couldn't tell.
Well, I didn't know that, no. If we didn't tell you already, this video is coming from New York, so there is a slight bias against any New England team.
I'm sorry if there's any Patriots.
So yeah, if there's any Patriots fans watching this,
I really, no, I can't say it. I don't hope they go.
and that's every client's right. They can say whatever they want.
I'm always right.
But because you're in a barbershop, I will probably have my opinion too. No, I'm just playing. Most of the time you can tell as you're working on your client, you're getting to know them, what type of person they are. Are they a talker? Do they like, whatever it is. But by the time you've done your one client, this person, this one time, you should definitely know their name. You should definitely find out one thing, remember one thing about them. So that when they come back 2 or 3 weeks later, you can say, hey, how's your mom? How did that Patriots game go? Something to build that rapport with. That's strong. You might not be the best barber. I'm definitely not the best barber. But barbering is not all about the haircuts. It's also about how well you interact with your customers. I've seen lousy barbers maintain and hold a lot of customers. They have a great personality. People do like that. They just love the personality aspect of it. So because I've been cutting a certain direction the whole time, I'm actually going to take a look in my mirror and just to make sure I see anything crazy. So there's a little weight that I want to take out. You notice with your Andes ions that the motor starts to get a little loud. It's actually the clippers getting a little loud. That lubrication sound, they know they need to lubricate them. It's actually going to help with your cuts too. And whether it's the Andes Supras or your Masters or whatever else you pick up, you should be lubricating them pretty often too. If you were, moving that fast all the time too, you'd probably need to be lubricated just to keep from heating up that much, right? So you just want to be careful with that. So pretty much done with the sides and the fading. We're going to go ahead and we're going to do our edge up. Again, our Andes Slimline Pro. This particular model has a nickel battery. it's actually a hybrid battery, so it doesn't have the same kind of memory life as a pure nickel battery does, which is great. I hear from the grapevine, actually, because of social media, which is nice, that they have a Slimline Pro Ion coming out, which I think is amazing because ion batteries don't have the same battery life memory. But either or, even with these, if you still have them now or if you're working with them, if you get this particular model, I have seen really good battery life with them as well. And as long as you maybe like once a month, just trying to drain your battery down throughout the day, and then at the end of the day you can put it on your charger. This way it kind of knows that it's draining all the way down and draining back up. That's one nice thing about the BGR Pluses. On the charging base that it comes with, it does have a function that drains the battery all the way and renews the battery, so that battery life doesn't have a memory and it won't become a problem later on. So I've kind of done both of those edge ups in the back again because I'm just used to working towards my mirror. But as you can see, I've done a nice pattern in the back here. Again, not taking it too far in. His growth pattern doesn't come all the way down the side. Some gentlemen who have a little bit more hair, their growth pattern will come through here. So if that was the case, I might not make such a dramatic angle here, because when it curls back in, it looks great now. Your Slimline Pros or whatever you're using, they cut really nice. They have that nice sharp look. It looks great right now. But in 2 days, if he had a lot of hair in this area and you're pushing it back in, it's going to come back and it's going to look horrible. So same with this side, just a little bit. You're not really doing a whole lot. Try to keep it as natural as possible, even on the back hairlines. Be careful with your client's ear. Everybody's ear has a different cartilage movement. Some ears don't like to move at all. Some ears are very flexible. Danny, would you like me to blend out your sideburns, or do you want me to keep them a little bit?
You can blend them out, I guess.
Blend them out? So we are going to blend them out. So I'm just going to take my slim lines and just... Because the ions get so nice and close already, I barely have to do any of this and it's already blended out. One of the things that we want to watch out for here too as well is another pushback moment. You don't want to push it back too much. You have a nice curve already. Danny has a nice curve to it. So you're just going to tap it just a little bit. You're going to use the edge. This one comes, the slim lines come with what is like a T edger outliner top to it. So you don't need to do that much at all. And I haven't done anything. I haven't taken them off. I haven't readjusted them. I mean, you can, adjust them. You can zero gap them if you really need to, but I haven't done this on these, and I think they leave a great edge up. I think also, for the most part, I don't do that on a lot of my machines, and because in the barber world anyway, I'm going to come back and I probably will be using a razor. So there really is no reason for me to, sorry, wipe off a little excess water. There really is no need for me to have this super sharp. Now everybody has like 3 or 4 edgers on their desk. One does a super sharp, one's a little bit, and then there's another one for balding. If you haven't seen the 5/0, the edger blade that comes for the attachments for your BGR Pluses, that's the one you should be using to do the balding anyway. Save your edgers for edge ups. Save your edgers for edge ups. Say that 5 times fast. That's what it's there for. Now they make, buy that one extra guard. Yeah, it's $25, $30, but you know what? Client comfort. That edger is going to get scrappy after a while. You're doing this, you're going up, you're taking out all that bulk, you're wearing it down super quick. Edgers aren't made for that. sorry, on that side I was taking down a little bit of the fade. I wanted to get a little bit more of the fade action there. Without the, so again, just flicking up. We're going to come around his ear. You hold down his ear with your pinky or your finger. Sometimes I'll take my pinky from the other hand and hold it down as I go around. And for Danny, we're actually not going to go ahead and do a front edge up line. He is going to keep it natural. And because I'm a little bit of a perfectionist, I am going to continue and get in here with, just take out that bulk line just a little bit on that taper. Okay. One thing that you'll notice too, as you are starting to do your, after you do your edge ups, a tip that was handed down to me was, and some people like to do their edge ups first. That's a pattern or a technique you want to use, that's cool. After I'm done with my blend, I noticed that after I do an edge ups have this funny thing of showing you all your imperfections in your either your taper or your haircut. Because edge ups should be one of the last things that adds that extra bit of crispness to your cut. So it is going to be that show off for you. All right. So that's all for that. And wet his hair down. Not run out of water in the middle of the video. There you go. All right. So you use your desired styling product. I'm actually going to use a little bit of pomade. The pomade goes a little bit further. With pomade, you want to work your magic, work all the way through the hair, get it up in there. That's what it's there for. Make a nice hold for you. Again, we're kind of doing a natural part. We're not really going to be doing a hard part on him. You know, one of the nice things that I've slowly come to do in my barbering, probably maybe because it just wasn't stressed to me enough at the beginning, but again, as you grow as a barber, as you grow as a cosmetologist, you learn things from different people. Just because you are a barber, it doesn't mean you cut the hair and say, okay, get out. Or that you cut the hair, style it, and say, get out. You know, let your clients know what's going on with their hair. Say, hey, this is what we're going to do right now with your hair. Let me show you. How many times have you cut somebody's hair a certain way and they go home and they call you, hey man, my hair is not doing the same thing that you did. You know, now it looks crazy. Well, it looks crazy because you styled the hair a certain way to do that particular cut, but you didn't show them or educate them on how to comb their hair a certain way, style their hair after they get home. So although he has, I'm not going to get him back or block all the cameras and not see it. I will push him to the mirror, explain him what's going on. You know, for him, I just ran everything through. Just comb everything forward for him. and just explain to him that there is a couple different looks that you can do. You know, nice and neat. If you want it nice and neat, just coming forward. And for him, he's just going to do a little part to the side, work a little magic, and he can go out and he could be ready for something, going out somewhere fancy. And if he doesn't like that look, he can just come in here, play with it. You know, I don't need to really be that technical today. I'm not going anywhere too crazy. You know, chop it up a little bit with his fingers, still coming to the side a little bit, and still look good. Which is probably the way he's going to wear it most of the time anyway. So, but if you don't let them know that, they won't know that their hair could do that. I mean, there's so many different items. He has the hair, he has the length to do a couple of different things. Show them what you did, but especially show them how to style their hair for the haircut that they just got. I think that's very important afterwards. Don't just brush them off and say, hey, get out of here, have a good day, you know, thanks for your money. We're glad they're here. We're glad they paid us. But remember, they're your walking advertisement. Yes, you did a banging fade, but if they can't style it afterwards, what good is that fade? Everybody's gonna look at the top of their hair and be like, what did they do? Sometimes you have a comb over to the side and the person gets home and you put the part on the side here and they're parting their hair up here. So this whole top, this whole long length is now hanging to the side and you look like, what'd that barber do? The barber didn't do anything. The person didn't know how to style it because the barber didn't educate them. Educate your clients. Let them know what's going on. So that pretty much concludes our young men's style. So I'd like to thank you again for joining us. One of the other things that I'm going to do before I let you go is that we cannot ever, ever, ever forget is that afterwards you have these nice little lovely hairs that go down the neck. Please don't let them leave with that. That is a must. Must. Roll them off. So again, my name is Jesse Almodovar. Feel free to check out a little bit more about me on my website, getthatcutnow.com. Has a little bit more about my bio, about where I've been, what I've done. Also some other pictures of other haircuts that I've done and other hairstyles. Hopefully we'll be bringing you a little bit more on how to do certain haircuts in the future. Some basic things on how to grow as a barber and techniques that hopefully you can take back to your shop and to your location, wherever that may be, even if it is doing your haircut at home and still being able to use the products that we have at hand to help you in that endeavor. So again, thank you very much. Have a good day.